So this is the 10 secrets to understanding and supporting your exceptionally wired kid. So let's get going with this. I just want to welcome you and say thank you for joining us at this time. I'm Dr. David Palmer. I'm the founder, the director. I'm a family life coach, basically the solopreneur here at the Inclusion Matters Collective. And so started this work back in October 22, been refining it, been working through just narrowing down the scope of what I've been doing. And so just focusing right now on providing resources for families who are raising neurodivergent toddlers to teens. I am a proud dad. I have 6 children. My wife and I have 6 kids in total, but 5 of those are exceptionally wired, neurodivergent, adopted kids who are now all in their teens. And so we've had them since at birth or shortly after. And so a lot of what I am sharing with you today is based on our personal experience, what we've had to learn throughout these several years, and what I can pass on to you right now. In addition to working at the Inclusion Matters Collective, I'm also an educational specialist or a special education teacher at a local public school. This is part of my 30 plus years in education, everything from being a principal of a school to being a high school teacher to learning needs specialist to special education teacher. So I have a lot of experience in the classroom and in school settings, which actually both of those, being the dad and being a teacher, led me to get my doctorate in special education curriculum and instruction. So that's what I love to do, is just help and see and support students and watch them thrive. I'm also one who understands ADHD because I was diagnosed with ADHD later in life. I didn't think for a long time that I could have ADHD because I wasn't very hyperactive in that sense, but just learning how I was seeing the world and interacting with the world, so on and so forth, and sought out that and was able to get that diagnosed, which in a sense hasn't changed me, but it's helped me a lot with how I am able to just navigate through the world and get things done. And so all of that combines together with this purpose and passion I have, which is to guide, to empower, to come alongside of overwhelmed, exhausted, confused, isolated parents of neurodivergent toddlers to teens, because I know that, starting young and then working our way up as they get older into the teenage years and start working into that transition into adulthood and independence, I want to come alongside of you as parents to help you navigate this unique journey. And I say unique journey because everybody's journey is different, and no 2 journeys, just like no 2 kids, are the same. So I love to come alongside and just empower you in the journey you're going through and give you that strength and confidence that you can have. And that'll allow you to cultivate what I call thriving resilience in both your children and really in yourself as a parent, maybe as a therapist, maybe as an educator. So that's my purpose and passion right there. So with that said, I want to talk about 3 things that you're going to leave today's workshop with. First, a parenting model and a framework, which again, I've been able to share with various educators. Just spoke recently at NamiCon in Colorado and Denver, shared this framework with mental health professionals, have shared portions of this with therapists. I've had an opportunity to really get into this. And so I want to share it with you because this is really the context, the foundation, the framework, the driving principle of everything that I'm going to share with you in this workshop. And so we'll spend a few moments looking at that thriving resilience model and framework. And then I really want you to leave with some personalized strategies and a support plan that you can use to support neurodivergent kids. And so your plan is going to be specific for you, going to be personalized for you. It's going to help you gain better understanding, empathy, and direct action, maybe some techniques to help support your child's development and build their resilience so they can thrive. And then towards the end, I'll give you some recommended resources, just a few. I know that there's a lot out there, a lot to curate, but I'll give you a start on some of the things and then allow you also, if you'd like to share some of the resources that you have found extremely helpful and beneficial. So, what is thriving resilience? Well, to understand thriving resilience, which to me is the end game of as we're raising our children, we want them to thrive and we want them to be resilient. And so when I think about thriving, I think about that mighty sequoia tree you see there in the center of your screen. I think about how that is able to be to grow and to be one of the tallest, oldest kinds of trees, to thrive in the midst of a forest. You see there next to some other trees, next to that beautiful creek there, and to be resilient and to be able to handle and take on the harshness of the weather around it and still be able to grow and be strong. And so to thrive to me means that you discover who you are and who you are becoming. And so you're going to see in this workshop, we want to be very much affirming who our kids are, but also understanding who they're becoming, their potential, their growth. When you thrive, you can reach daily success with happiness and compassion. And it's not merely just surviving, trying to get through life, but it's really living life with energy and with passion. And so that was adapted from some quotes and things from Maya Angelou. And then thinking about resilience, a lot of people say, well, resilience is the ability to bounce back. It's being able to take some difficult situation and to be able to bounce back from that. I add a little bit more to that in my understanding of resilience. So resilience is really the capacity of a person. It's what they can do, the ability that can actually grow. We can grow in resilience to maintain their core purpose and integrity. Integrity, again, is being true to who you are. So I don't have to become something or someone else in order to be resilient. I'm actually growing in the capacity of who I am. And we can do that in the face of dramatically challenging and changing circumstances. And so when you put those together, thriving resilience, and I want you just to put this end in mind, is the ever increasing capacity to be who I am with all of my strengths, my stretches, my struggles, my successes, and also who I am becoming, my potential, my growth. And I grow in that capacity so I can live out my purpose with compassion, first towards myself and then towards others, as my path to true happiness and life-satisfying fulfillment. And that's what we're after. I can live life with purpose and passion amidst the realities that we'll all face: failures, disappointments, pain, trauma, tragedy. All of those things are a reality of life. So as we face those things, instead of crumbling, we're growing in the capacity based on who we are, who we can become, and we have a lot of compassion. We have a lot of care for ourselves because we're seeking after true happiness and fulfillment as we live our purpose and passion. So how that looks, and I've envisioned this as a tree house. And so the tree house here, you see, it's an AI image because I couldn't find an image of a tree house that is really like this. But there are really four components to the Thriving Resilience tree house, which is the model. So first, there's that strong trunk foundation. So really the model sets on four key foundational things that must be true as we're raising our children. We must affirm their uniqueness. They're one of a kind. We must affirm the connection between their brain and body. We must affirm the big picture of who they are, their heart, head, and hands, their cognitive abilities, their thinking abilities, their feeling capacities, and then what they can do, and then their purpose, their ikigai, that sweet place right there where what I love, what I can do, how I can serve people, and then eventually how I can support myself and others, how that all comes together. They need that foundation. And then there's these supporting branches. saying that I can become resilient, I can thrive because 6 things are true. And in the model, I focus on 6 things, which is I'm valued, I'm understood, I'm loved, I'm respected, I'm growing, which means I'm changing and transforming, metamorphosizing, and I am heard. And then once those things are all taking root, so to speak, to use the cultivating tree model here, then I have what I need to be resilient. And what is it that our children need to be resilient? Should they be growing in so they can grow in this thriving resilience as they are valued and understood, so forth? Courage, confidence, curiosity, creativity, commitment, compassion, connection, and then collaboration with others. That's how we become resilient, as those particular qualities are growing in our lives with the support of others. And then why risk it? Why even go after thriving resilience? And this is the environment that we as adults are responsible for, and that is creating these environments, these homes, these schools, these classrooms, these communities, these therapy offices, whatever it is, that are welcoming, safe, strong, and accessible. And so you take this model of how thriving resilience can be cultivated in our children, and then you can see it focuses on understanding the brain nervous system. I've taken a lot from trauma-informed care practices, mental health practices, the idea of neurodivergence and neurodiversity, that no 2 brains are the same, and appreciating and affirming child development, how children develop from one stage to another. And then, of course, putting on top of that an emphasis for us as parents. How do we implement this treehouse model? And so to do that, there's a very simple framework. And we're going to work through this framework today. So step 1, if you want to build this kind of thriving resilience based on that model, we need to be those who are celebrating strengths. Step 2, we continue to cultivate resilience, that courage, that compassion, that confidence in them as we are walking with them through the various challenges they face. We learn about open and honest communication. We learn about co-regulation, how to help not just children manage, but to actually be able to thrive through their emotions, creating routines, and then lastly, connecting with community. So those are the basic 6 steps of the Thriving Resilience Framework in action that we're going to work on right now together. So this is 10 ways to support your exceptionally wired child at home. And so you'll notice that these 10 items here are brought out from the Thriving Resilience model and framework. And so I created this infographic. It's there on the website. If you don't have it, I can send it to you for free. But this is basically what you can look at, different ways that you can support your child based on the Thriving Resilience model. And you might ask, why do I use the term exceptionally wired? Well, I like that term because, one, it helps denote the fact of neurodevelopmental diversity, that all human beings in their development of their brain and their body, their nervous system, show forth diversity. We're all different. And even though I know neurodivergent is the common term, I wanted a term that didn't apply, that those who are neurodivergent are any less or really less valuable than what we would term neurotypical. Every brain is different. Every brain develops different based on their genetics, their biology, if they face traumatic experiences, developmental trauma, social, environmental influences. All of this make us who we are and affect our wiring. And so I thought, exceptional. Why use exceptional? Well, if you think about something to be the exception of the rule, it means it's something that's unique. Every one of our children, every one of us are very unique in who we are. And then exceptional, if I go out and I have an exceptional meal, it's something that is amazing. It is something that just blows your mind. And that's how I see my kids, at least here, and how I want us all to see our children, is that they're not they're not people who are sick, who need to be fixed. They are incredibly exceptional, unique, beyond amazing. And that's why we have to look at this from a very affirming perspective. It's not what's wrong with you, it's what's strong with you. And that's where we start with this. So, with that, I'd like to get started now with the workshop. But before I do that, did anyone have any questions on the Thriving Resilience model or framework? You can type it into the chat if you like, or you can go ahead and jump off mute and feel free to ask any clarifying questions. Or give me a thumbs up if we're good.
I just have to say I do love the not what's wrong, what's strong part of it because it is I feel that way with my kids that um they each have their own strengths
Mm-hmm.
and when I describe it to people I tell them it's almost like a key, like a lock and a key that you just have to find that right as one of them is playing with gold coins right now. Sorry.
No, it's great. I love it.
um yeah, no, when you said that I was like, wow, that really is amazing. That one phrase. I was like, I immediately wrote that
Oh, awesome. Well, good. Thank you for sharing that, Aaron. All right, so here's the 4 points. So I hope you're ready now because it's going to turn on for you to start jotting down some ideas about how you can really implement this in your situation. So let's start with celebrations and cultivation. So when we're thinking about celebration and cultivation as one of, or actually two of our 10 ways that we can support our kids at home, think about celebration. So we're celebrating the moments of effort and growth. We're saying it's not just your performance, it's not just your achievement that we'll celebrate, but it's those moments when I see you really working hard. When I see you fail at something, but you don't just give up, or if you do want to give up, we work together and we celebrate what you can do. We're focusing on that growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. That's what we're celebrating. And we're supporting development in a very relational way. We're celebrating who they are at the point of time that we are with them. And that might not look like the same of everybody else their age. And like I said, that's okay. We are celebrating them. And we should have a home environment, a therapy environment, a classroom environment, a school environment where we're celebrating. And I love it at school I work at. Every teacher's meeting, our principal starts out the meeting with a celebration. What can we celebrate? And I just think that's what I want my first step to be. I want to have you think about what are we celebrating? Are we celebrating and what are we celebrating at home? And then in terms of cultivating, I think of like growing plants, and I shared at the NamiCon session I spoke at. I said, you'll have to help me because I'm not a green thumb. Pretty much anything that I try to grow typically uh, dies, and so if it's not something like a cactus or something, then I'm going to have a hard time. But yeah, it sounds like the call to be present every moment with our kids and students. Thanks for sharing that, Sharon. That's what we're talking about, being in that moment, celebrating. And then we're cultivating problem solving skills in C2, which is just a fancy word. It means in the genuine, authentic moments of life. We don't have to wait or come up with some big uh, problem for them to solve. We're just going through life together and inviting them into that process. I did that with one of my kids just the other day where they're having a hard time. I said, well, what could we do? How could we solve this problem together? I think sometimes, even when they're young, we might want to jump in and we might want to solve it for them, but we don't want to do that. And then there's lots of things that kids love to do, even when they're teenagers, that we can help nurture those critical thinking abilities. I remember for me, a lot of that was just spending time with my dad working on my car. And so those were great opportunities where he was able to teach me. I got hands-on experience in doing it, and then I had to figure out, okay, what would I do, or how can I tackle this thing here or do that? And so I put in there, it's that growth mindset with ZPD, which stands for the zone of proximal development, meaning it's not, hey, you go and figure this out on your own. It's how can we do this together? And so the zone of proximal development is this kind of tension where there's a task where it's not so easy they can just do it quickly. And it's not something that is unauthentic. But it's a moment where let's say we're doing a 1,000-piece puzzle and we're working on that puzzle together. I'm not just finding them for them or just solving it for them, but we're doing it together because it's hard enough where they need support and they need somebody just right alongside of them, helping them and teaching them and encouraging them and celebrating them. And so that's where you begin to see resilience. And then you're celebrating that resilience along the path. So I'd like you to think for a moment and feel free again to share out here if you like. What are some of the methods that you use to celebrate efforts? And it's okay to celebrate achievements as well. But the idea is that we're doing that in balance. And then what specific methods do you use to acknowledge and encourage growth in your children or the children you work with? So feel free to jump on and share that, or you can even just jot it down there in your workbook, in your journal. How do you celebrate? Again, you can throw it in the chat or you can come off mute if you like. I know one of the things that I like to do, especially in my classroom and here at home as well, is to do the celebrations in a way that are very affirming, but also very empathetic. Some students, they don't like it if you just start yelling like, hey, look at how hard they're working. Sometimes they get embarrassed, so those you can just those students you can walk by and do that celebration with them. Hey, again, words of praise that are very specific, not just hey, great job, or I like it, but helping them really connect and see how the effort and the struggle is actually leading to the growth, and then celebrating that in ways that we know, again, are authentic and genuine. So in your workbook, I want to take maybe 30 seconds or so, a minute, to have you jot down what steps can you take moving forward that you can use to model this growth mindset, this I can do it, or if I can't do it yet, versus that fixed mindset, which is this is all I can do. Don't ask me to do anything else. But how can you model that growth mindset and support your child's development within their zone of proximal development, meaning where they are at on the journey and where there are those opportunities of growth? And again, I put it here to model and support. So it's not just telling, it's they need to see, they need to engage, they need to know the support is there. So take a moment and write down maybe a couple of things that you can put into place that would be able to both help that growth mindset develop, and then maybe even throw in how we could celebrate that. And Sharon put down, getting our attention to that moment, giving our focus there on that effort and the feeling of the child. I love those prompts. How are you feeling right now? What's helped you to get there? I saw you tried it in a few ways. What made you not give up? How did you feel about that? Those are amazing questions to ask. And they're great in the moment, like you said, they're great right there. And notice you're not giving, you keep trying that same problem, and you've tried it about 10 times. We don't say, oh, you're not going to get it, because that's what a lot of the students, even I work with, are used to hearing from others. And so we're coming alongside and doing the opposite. Um, and even at home with our own children, taking that time, help them reflect. It's not experience, Dewey said um, that Dewey said is how we learn. It's by reflecting on that experience. Yeah, Sharon.
I think also putting the attention on them and not on us, meaning that
Hmm.
it's not about me being proud of them or me believing in them, but it's them being proud of themselves.
Yes.
So my job is to really shine the light on them and
Hmm.
make sure that they see what they have done and they feel the space to, grow.
Yes. I love that. Yeah, it's not about us. We're the guides, they're the hero. All right, go ahead and wrap up on that reflection. And so the second thing here is looking at communication and co-regulation. And so we're thinking about the ways that we communicate. A lot of times we're communicating to our kids as if they were adults. A lot of times we focus just on that prefrontal cortex, that reasoning logical place, which is very much still in development in all of our children, but especially those who are exceptionally wired. It's going to take a little more time. And so we want to make sure that our communication is such that it's clear, it's simple, that we're incorporating visual aids to improve understanding. With a lot of the IEPs I work on, this is one that seems to always need to show up in an IEP, which is an individual education program or plan that we as a team work together on to write for the support of a child in special education. And so visual aids, our kids are very visual, especially growing up in this day and age. And so we're communicating in ways we're learning their language. We're taking time to affirm their language, how they communicate to us. We're not always interpreting their communication to us in the ways that we think it is, but in the way that they think it is. One way that kids love to communicate is through their art. But I've been coaching a few families, and what's interesting is that at first glance, some of that art can be disturbing for the parents and cause alarm. And rightly so, but I'm coaching them through the fact that don't shut it down right away, but use it as a tool, as a way to kind of get on the inside and see what's going on. Um, and we want that encouragement. We want our kids to express their needs and their feelings without saying, oh, you're so needy all the time. Or, and I know we do that as parents, I know we do that. But we can really shut down the communication very quickly if we're not careful. And so, how many times do I have to tell you? I hear that a lot. Uh, why don't you get this? It's because the problem is us. We're not communicating in a way that's resonating with our children, and we're not really hearing them. We're not really listening to what's deeper going on. So we need to do that. Um, Teaching them, yeah, that self advocacy. We want to grow that. Resilient people are able to advocate for themselves well, and so we're part of that developmental process in communicating. And that's also done in this context of co-regulation, which is how we come alongside of our children and model the regulated state for them. If we're emotionally dysregulated, so let me talk about that for a moment. If you're familiar with polyvagal theory, the work of Dr. Stephen Porges, and I'll refer to Dr. Mona Delahook and others later on in this workshop. But the idea is that our kids need us to help them in what's going on the inside, whether they're in a fight or flight state whether they're in a shutdown withdrawal state, or whether they're in that green zone, we call it, where that window of tolerance is open and our children can really connect with us and really understand what they're feeling and know what they're feeling and be able to express what they're feeling. And when they're feeling really, really anxious, we're not just telling them, stop worrying, there's nothing to worry about, but we're actually helping them through our modeling, through our connection, through our closeness. We're helping them walk through that moment and helping them learn in that moment, helping them to learn that things like anxiety in themselves are not bad. In fact, it's very helpful at certain times to keep us safe, to keep us. But the idea is they have a trusted and safe adult around them that's helping them through these moments. And so there's lots of great tools that we use: deep breathing, calm down. Corners are time to not, hey, go calm down. I should probably phrase that differently. But a place where they can kind of connect with their emotions, but also with their senses, and giving that opportunity to do it together. And so as you think about those two things and how we communicate, how we co-regulate, they really go hand in hand together. And so as we're thinking through, what methods might you use to help your child or your client express their needs and feelings, and then how might you currently help your child regulate their emotions? And so think about that for a moment. What are your routines in that? How do those work? Anybody have any suggestions? Okay. Yeah. We see here, Sharon. The illusion that regulation means that we're always cool and calm is problematic. That's right. We're constantly coming in and out and back into balance and regulation or homeostasis. Yes. And again, it's really complex because, again, fight or flight in certain situations are necessary. Shutdown and calm can be a very good thing. Especially, you're sitting on the couch with your child watching a movie together, just in that state of just total serenity. Yeah, good. And then thinking about reflecting on some co-regulation techniques, things you can do together as you're supporting that emotional regulation. Remember, exceptionally wired neurodivergent children are going to struggle a little more at times with their amygdala, or that fire alarm, and hey, there's something wrong here. My body feels like it's in some kind of dangerous place. It's our job to come alongside them and walk them through that, and not just leave them there, or again, just telling them, hey, you just need to calm down. There's nothing to be worried about, so on and so forth. Okay, Aaron just shared, coming from a conference, suggested putting an emoji feeling map on the fridge to help the children tell you. Yes, there are a lot of things out there that are just superb like that. So I like emojis because they're used to emojis with the technology in that. In fact, I put one up in my classroom when my kids were younger. In fact, I think we still have some there for the teens. So that's another good way, just to know that they can count on you to be there, that when I get upset or I get angry, that I have someone who's going to connect with me immediately and not push me away, not belittle me or any of that. But we know what it's like. And again, I tell parents all the time, we have a lot more options at times than our children do. And so we need to be very empathetic in that. So that's those two there. The next one was creation and community. And so again, we're building this thriving resilience. We're supporting them at home. So we're creating a home that's safe, that's nurturing, that they know without a shadow of a doubt that they are loved, that they are heard, that they are supported. Again, family check-ins, positive affirmations, celebrations, all these things, but I want us to be mindful that we as adults, whether in a home, a classroom, or in a therapy office, we're the ones who set the tone. We're the ones who are responsible. And then community. This one is a tough one, and I'm going to be honest, because sometimes as parents of exceptionally wired children, the last thing we want to do is to be around other people because, and we were just sharing this the other day, it's so easy, especially out in public, to be judged, to get that glaring look, to either have someone say, which we've had, or have somebody imply, why don't you take care of your kid? This kid needs more discipline. We get that even from others in our family. It's like they just need more discipline. You just need to do this. And so a lot of times we can feel very isolated. We can want to withdraw. And so, yeah, Sharon, parent support groups, especially of those who are in similar situations, can be so helpful. And I know that nowadays, my wife and I, in supporting one of our children, we can engage even online. We engage with online parents, and just hearing other people's stories. One, you start thinking, I'm not alone. I'm not the only person on the planet going through this. You can actually laugh about some of those things together and shared experience. You can hear advice. Yeah, you have to have a good moderator. You have to have somebody there that it just doesn't turn into a complaining session, that it becomes very validating. It becomes very much productive. But you also don't want someone who's going to moderate these groups who are just going to tell everybody what they need to do, and so there's this balance in that. And so thinking about what kind of communities can we involve ourselves in? What can we do to really connect with others? And so think about that. Think about different things. What strategies maybe have you used um, to make sure that your child feels loved, heard, and supported? When our kids were younger, and not so much now as teen, but when they were younger, yeah, we would always go in and read them a story, just spend time at the end of the day with them as they were getting ready to go to sleep. There's just so many ways to think through that. And children, again, pick up a lot on what is felt versus what is said. I remind parents 93% of what we communicate is not using our words. It's our body language, our tone, facial expression, loudness of our voice. All of those things are communicating more than just the words we use. And so what steps can you take? Maybe something you can think about in the next, few weeks, few months, that you say, you know what, I think maybe I want to try this so that I can enhance how my kids are feeling. Or you can even come to those aha moments like, oh, I realize every time I say this, that's really triggering. And I need to back off and really not say that and really think of an alternative, more affirming way to say that. And then, connecting with community. Again, it's tough, but there are lots of opportunities now out there, both in person as well as online. So think about that, reflect on that, maybe write down a few notes on that. And especially, again, not just parents, but teachers, finding like-minded teachers. And then I know in the mental health therapy world, that's so important, is being able to connect with others, knowing that you don't have to take on all of that on your own. We need to be caring for ourselves. Self-care is so important. I won't get on that soapbox, but so important in raising resilient kids. Okay. And lastly, I want to think about considering consistency, and then also think about you as a parent being a coach, not just a person who tells your kids, or that, but someone who's actually works like a coach towards bringing them to courage. And so even when they're teenagers, our kids need those predictable routines. They need that structure. They need that, again, those safe borders. And so consistency is probably difficult, because I know as an adult with ADHD, consistency is hard for me. And so we're looking at ways, again, that can work in your context. And then courage. I know that eventually resilience has to come down to being willing to take some risk, to teach some skills, seeing resilience being modeled in those around them. Again, that growth mindset, all of this helps build that courage, because courage implies that there's going to be failure. Courage implies that things are going to be really difficult and challenging. It's not a kind of courage, though, that is just kind of, I know it's an old term, but it's, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, rub some dirt on it, tough it out. It's a lot different than that. And we're seeing now modeled before us in all aspects, even of our culture, the courage that people have to be willing to share and be vulnerable in a place where before we weren't able to speak out in such a way. And so we're seeing courage happen in so many aspects, and we want to point those out and model them. Again, it's not saying that courage is doing scary or dangerous things in a safe space, and that's really what it comes down to. Thank you, Sharon, for pointing that out. And so how are we able to think about that? And so considering, again, this regular affirming of our child in consistent ways, building on their self-esteem, self-efficacy, which is, I believe that I have the ability to do this. I think a lot of times it's even being open about our own feelings and being vulnerable as adults, which is scary, but that vulnerability is able to foster that trust and emotional openness in our children. And then again, I love it, that doing scary or dangerous things in a safe place, nurturing those kinds of environments. And then what can you do as a coach? Well, as a parent, a lot of therapists are now using a coaching model. A lot of teachers now are using a classroom model of coaching, where again, it's not moving away from being the sage on the stage, we say, in education, or the teacher is the one who's doing all the work. The idea that we're the ones that have to tell them what to do, and we're the only ones that know the right way, and so on and so forth. We got to get away from that kind of thinking, and more of that guidance, and more of that helping them see the value of setting goals. And it's okay if we don't reach our goals. Let's go back and think about why didn't we reach our goal? What supports do we need to be able to reach that goal? We are engaging in activities that promote whole child development. Again, head, heart, hand, building both independence and interdependence. And I put those two down on purpose because, yes, we want our kids to be independent learners or independent adults, being able to take care of themselves. But we never get beyond the place where we don't need to depend on other people. And that's where that community aspect comes in. Everyone needs help and support along the way. And so that's what coaching is about. Sharon put, as a coach, you're offering the appropriate challenge, not too high, not too low, just right, individualized challenges. One of my kids were on just a tremendous soccer team with a tremendous coach who was able to support and encourage them, but also teach them and challenge them, help them think about their own actions and responsibility, but also how does that impact the team, and how every player on that team needed every other teammate. I mean, it's just, you find those coaches and you're just like, yes, this is amazing. And that's how we are as parents, teachers, and therapists and practitioners. We're those who are right there, cheering them on, giving them, teaching them the skills they're doing. The coach doesn't run out and just start, taking over, even though at times I think a lot of youth coaches would want to do that, right? They'd rather just go out there and do it themselves, right? That's not what they do. Good coaches don't do that. And so it's that stretching area. Again, the strengths which our children have innate strengths, and they also have learned strengths along the way. They have stretches, which are those areas where they can grow, a little bit of tension there. Again, as Sharon said, not too easy, not too hard. It's kind of the Goldilocks principle there, just right, where they're able to have to grow and they can see that effort and that progress happening. All of our kids, all of us have areas of struggle that are just hard for us. And then, of course, we have lots of successes that we're celebrating. So how can we foster those? I'm going to stop right here. Any thoughts as you've been working through these 4 pairs, thriving resilience, and how that might be able to maybe shape or transform some ways you're doing things at home, in the classroom, or in the office?
I think that, like Liz Engoff in her books says, there is the under construction sites and there is the highways, which I
Mm-hmm.
love that, metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
And really taking the time to, write down what are your, highways now and what is, the under construction. And then every few weeks, check it again. Is the under construction now become a highway?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like to reevaluate.
That is amazing. I love that analogy. And of course, we're helping them by providing the on-ramps and the off-ramps. That's great. Seems like some of the freeways here in Southern California, though, have always been under construction. But anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up here? There are lots of resources that I could recommend. I just don't have the time or space to give them all. Aaron, it's great. Yeah, still figuring it out. Ideas. And that's what I'm hoping in this workshop is just you're getting the ideas, you're figuring it out. You're saying, ooh, this is something that I need to really tend to. And once you're there, then there are lots of opportunities, places you can go. And again, one of the things I want to say in this workshop is, not to encourage you not to get overwhelmed. Sometimes I think we can see a lot of these areas where we need help in, or we can do better in, or whatever it is. But it's really just taking one thing at a time, or 1 or 2 things at a time, and just really being focused and consistent and considering that. But consider is huge, right? Consider, think about, that's why I put kind of in the title there, that most parents don't consider, because a lot of times we need to hit the pause button and we need to come to workshops or things like this, or conferences, or different opportunities where we can just slow down a little bit and reflect and think and spend some time, writing things down, journaling, talking with our partners, or other teachers, or other practitioners, or whatever it is, and just being able to kind of take some time to slow down and really work, and put that effort in as well. So at the Inclusion Matters Collective, we have some guides and checklists that are there, and just growing all of this. Of course, we have this workshop, and then I just put up a free course, which I'll share with you in just a moment, on how to support our kids when they're struggling at school. There's a supportive community that's growing right now. It's primarily on Instagram, but I'm looking to, and I'll share in just a moment how I'm looking to incorporate more of that. Show our kids in a very explicit way that we learn new things too. I love that every day, that we are learners, that we have a growth mindset. They need to see that, and that we need other people. That's great. Thank you for that, Sharon. If you're familiar with understood.org, that's one site. There are lots of sites like Understood. There's Attitude Magazine, so much stuff out there. I would just encourage you, if you're looking at those materials, to understand that you want to find affirming sources. things that are going to look at more at helping our kids understand what's strong with them than what's wrong with them. But it is helpful to look at sites and different things maybe that can give you more of the medical advice or the medical diagnosis part. And I think I wrote a blog about how maybe we can navigate that, getting our, if we feel we need to get our children diagnosed and working through that and so on and so forth. But look for also affirming ways, people who are saying, no, we need to celebrate neurodiversity as a basic human trait, that every child is unique and again has the under construction parts and the highway parts. MonaDelahook.com. She's really the one that got me thinking. I heard her on a podcast being interviewed one day, just randomly, and I heard what she had to say, and that really got me on the trail to learning more about the brain, body, and polyvagal and all of that. So that's a good entry point. And then Instagram, I know Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, there's just so much stuff out there. Even LinkedIn, which I love my LinkedIn community. Again, you have to be very discerning with what's going on out there, but like parenting.resilience, and there's all other kinds of just amazing sites of parents and educators and speech therapists and those who work in the realm of supporting students with autism. I mean, there's just so much good stuff. So you want to make sure that you're looking at posts and websites and things like that that are really along that line. And yes, Mona Delahook is wonderful. Her book, Beyond Behavior, that's the one I read, which was just mind-blowing. And I use that a lot in my coaching. If you're looking for a few books to get started, of course, she has one called Brain Body Parenting, which is like her book Beyond Behavior, but more for parents. I mean, Beyond Behaviors is also good. Parents can read. But this one is amazing because it has so many just powerful insights in it. Understanding your child's physiology, neuroception, which is helping them understand what they're feeling in their nervous system and being able, like Aaron said, maybe to identify it on a chart, something like that. And then again, nurturing children's ability to self-regulate. And so she puts it as stop managing behavior. And I feel like that's kind of what we feel like we do all the time as parents and teachers. And that is we're always just trying to manage behavior. But she gets deeper. She goes beneath the surface of the iceberg and just helps with everything from toddlers to elementary school age kids, so on and so forth. So definitely highly recommended. Dr. Sharon Saline, I've gone to quite a few of her webinars through Attitude or through PESI, P-E-S-I. Just incredible resources. This one is What Your ADHD Child Wishes You Knew. And I actually got this book and started reading it before I knew much about her, and now just love her stuff. And it's just really good. So that's a good one if you are supporting raising a child who is ADHD. And then Dan Siegel's book on the whole brain child. I got to hear him also at a conference not too long ago. So all of these are very important. And then if you're getting into things like polyvagal theory, Deb Dana is incredible. She has a lot of good resources, again, books and courses. I mean, the list goes on and on, but I wanted to give you, in a sense, a flavor of the kind of books that you're looking for, which are, again, very neuro-affirming, very much supporting the whole child, not neglecting what's going on in their bodies, what's going on in their amygdala, all of those things. And so if you want, you can reach out to me, email me, and I would love to be able to give you more recommendations. What I do and what I'm excited about doing is family and one-on-one and group family coaching. When I started what was called Inclusion Matters Education Services. That's how it started. I was kind of all over the map doing assessments and all of that. And then I just really working with families in the school setting and just, in the community life setting, just realized this is an area and a gift that I have that I wanted to bring to the world. And so family coaching, again, is one-on-one. We're working with either parents or parents and children. I prefer eventually getting to work together as a whole family, because this is how you can get that direct individualized support that you need. We work through personalized strategies. We don't use I don't use a one size fits all. There's the accountability, there's the goal setting. I'm just ending one six session program tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And then just working with others and starting some new ones. And so if you're interested in that, it comes in either a 1 hour, so you can just, book a 1 hour call, a 6 session, and then I just opened up 12 session packages available. So you can go to the imatter.co/work-with-me to find out about that. I'm going to be starting a new group coaching cohort after school starts, because I know at the beginning of school things are really busy, but I wanted to do a 6 session group family coaching, which gives you that community aspect, right? Peer support, shared experiences. There's an agenda, there's a focus to each of the 6, which ties into the thriving resilience framework we talked about. And so keep a lookout on that. If you subscribe to the email list, or you email me or just DM me or whatever, I can let you know when that next group session is going to start. So those are a couple of things I just wanted to let you know are also available. And in the group family coaching, I know if Sharon, if you're interested or know others who are in the professional world or even educators who want to jump in and be part of that, help facilitate that, that would be amazing, because they don't always have to just hear my voice. And then I'm excited about some things in the works. Wow. Yeah, I want to do some more of these workshops. Love to maybe in 2025 do more of a retreat, gather some parents together for like a weekend or so and just really go deep into how we can support and nurture our children. Like I said, there's a course. I'm going to slowly be working on more courses. I've been asked by another organization to work on a course, which I still need to get working on that for them. But I think courses are great, especially asynchronous courses, because you can kind of take them on your own time. Again, I want to expand on my community-based portal through the imatter.co. And then I'm excited because I'm working on a shorter ebook, which will be coming out September 1st, 2024, which is about a month, based on the ideas on this workshop. And then I'm also working with a superb writing coach to write a full book, just like one of these books here, to get published on the thriving resilience model that's based on exceptionally wired children and their parents. So those are exciting things that I just wanted to share with you all. How you can get a hold of me. Our website is the imatter.co. Sharon, yeah, I'll send you, actually, I'll just email you. I think I have your email. I'll email you the graphic. You can email me, david@theimatter.co. On all socials, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, all of those, LinkedIn, if you want to find me. Personally, I'm at Dr. D.A. Palmer. And then the Inclusion Matter Collective is always at the iMatter Co. And then this is just kind of funny for me. The rotary phones, I remember it. So if you want to call, you can go ahead and call. There comes through a business line that goes directly to my cell phone, so we can talk, chat. I have a WhatsApp number too, if you prefer to do it through that. Let's see. Oh, special offer. So if you or someone you know is looking into coaching packages, they can use the coupon code when checking out, webinar 20 for 20% off next coaching packages. usually what I do is if you go to the Work With Me page, what'll happen is we can schedule a 15-minute discovery call first to see kind of what you're looking for in terms of coaching, and then move on to a package from there. But any package, the first package there that you would get, or the next one you would schedule, would be 20% off. And just thank you for your participation. So I know we started a little bit later, but I wanted to give just a few more minutes here if there are any questions that you have that I can answer. If you can't think of one now, it's okay. We can go ahead and you can just reach out to me. I am recording this and we'll put this up on our website in the next day or so. And so if you want to go back, review anything, you can watch it. If you know someone, either a parent, teacher, coach, mental health professional, therapist, whatever it might be, who might benefit from what you just saw, feel free to share that with them as well. So thank you for coming. Thank you, especially Aaron and Sharon. Just always enjoy when have that opportunity to share with you guys, and then continuing this work. And so have a wonderful evening. Again, if you need anything, just reach out. And hopefully we'll be able to be in contact soon. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening, and the best to all of you and your families.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Good night.